The historic community of West Augustine has been around since the Civil War, but recently it's experienced something of a resurgence. You can see it in part by a rebranding. It's now being called West City, but also in the dozens of new businesses there, including bars, stores, restaurants, and rising rents. A new program is designed to prevent the recent success from driving out longtime residents. And here to tell us about it is Jaime D. Perkins. She's the Director of Community Services for the City of St. Augustine. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Ann. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for making the trek up here this morning.
You're so welcome.
So
It's my
tell us,
pleasure.
yeah, it's our pleasure as well. This new program is called the Revive and Restore Residential Repair Grant Program. A lot of alliteration there. It is modeled after a similar program in Lincolnville, which is just south of the city. This is just west of downtown. Who is this program designed to help?
Oh, wow. So, great question. It is designed to help and stabilize the current community members. So, people, what we refer to as long term residents in the West City community, West City Community Redevelopment Area. And the idea is to kind of help get ahead of what we would refer to as gentrification. We see communities changing on a regular basis, and community redevelopment agencies and areas are there to kind of mitigate some of those challenges that we see in those ever changing communities.
And you mentioned the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency. And so those are designed somewhat to help reinvest dollars that are produced by rising land values, by rising property values, to take that and reinvest it in that specific area, kind of
Exactly.
carefully designed
So,
area.
so there are over 200 community redevelopment areas in the state of Florida. Legislative terms that the legislation uses is there to prevent slum and blight, and we create a redevelopment plan at the very beginning of the establishment of a CRA, and we basically the redevelopment plan acts as kind of a comprehensive plan, and we define things or there are efforts and projects and programs implemented or defined in the plan that we can implement throughout the tenure of the redevelopment area.
And so this redevelopment area, for people who aren't specifically familiar, we are talking about the area that's west of US 1,
Yes.
and it's King Street is sort of the central artery there.
It's the so King Street is the main, I would call it our commercial kind of corridor, and has always been, even when we were referring to West City as New Augustine. That
I missed
particular,
that.
yeah, that particular corridor at one point had over 100 businesses, many of them African American owned. And it was a vibrant, thriving community, and it still is. And it is. I think you referred to it as a resurgence, and it is a resurgence of that community. And people are kind of discovering that particular area now, and people are coming back, and you see the price of living, the cost of living rising. And so, with the establishment of the CRA, sometimes people get a little bit concerned. Maybe there's some apprehension because they're saying, "Oh, our property values are going to go up," but property values and real estate taxes increase anyway. Um, so what we do is we take those funds of the increased property taxes and invest them back into that community. To answer your question, it is a very central location. So the geographic boundaries are everything west of US 1. It goes as far south as State Road 207. We go right up to the St. Johns County boundary, which is I call it the railroad tracks, which is right there on King Street, but it is Rodriguez Street. And then our northern boundary for the West City CRA is Vista Cove or Ravenswood
Mm.
North.
Yeah, and for people who are watching our live stream, we are showing a map of that area and that designation. I want to ask you about its evolution. You mentioned, a time when it was thriving community. It is also a historically African American community, and there are a lot of residual, very cool buildings from that period.
Mhm.
Um, this area, though, has been I mean, historically, people have said that it was punished after the civil rights movement, that the city or the county or the state chose to go around that thriving business district of West King Street, building State Road 16 sort of specifically to circumvent it as an act of retaliation because of the civil rights movement and that area of town participating in demonstrations. And I don't know if that's historically correct? Is that just a understanding that people have built over the years?
I think that it's not impossible. I can't speak to that directly because I don't have that information, but I don't think that's something that's impossible, and
You've
it's not
heard that
something that we,
before.
of course, and
Yeah.
it's not something that is unheard of in marginalized communities, especially throughout the history of our nation and the challenges that we face, particularly in the city of St. Augustine during the civil rights movement of 1964. So I don't believe that it's impossible, but I think that the people that were in that community at the time and even now were resilient people, and we see the fruit of that in today's the work that we see today and the way that the community has continued to thrive.
So, if people are wanting to participate in this program, tell us about the parameters. Who can participate? What kind of money is available?
So, Revive and Restore is available to any qualifying West City community redevelopment area. You must be in the boundary of the CRA, of course, but any qualified resident. And to be qualified, there are our qualification measures are income based. Basically, we use the HUD standards to determine if you meet those low income qualification measures. You'll see similar standards used with like SHIP programming or affordable housing programming. And so we use those variables to determine if you are a qualified person. You submit your application. My staff is very responsive, so you can find the application on our website, on the city St. CRA.com website. You can even reach out to our offices and we'll email it to you. And we even go as far as to bring it to your doorstep if it's something that you need assistance with. We'll even sit down and help prepare your application if there's a level of challenges there for you. Um,
And part of the deal here is that people are eligible for these grants, but it's designed so that people are not taking advantage of the city dollars if they're out of town owners, for instance, or if they're just wanting to buy and flip a house or turning it into an
It
Airbnb.
has to be homesteaded. It has to be your primary residence. And at this point, we are only offering up to $25,000 in grant funding. That's not to say that you will get the entire 25,000, but that's the up to amount. So we determine what health and safety repairs are necessary to make your living situation um, ensure that you're safe in your home and that there's no health and safety concerns. And once you receive the funding, there is a lien that is placed on the property to ensure that you do not sell the property. Now, that's not to say you cannot sell your property. It's still your house. The city or the CRA does not want ownership of anyone's property or their home. But we do want to protect the safety of those tax dollars and make sure that that our program is functioning properly. So if someone does decide that they want to sell their house within the time frame, we place a 10-year lien on the property for the $25,000 grant. And if you decide that you want to sell within that 10-year period, you're more than welcome to. You just would owe back a portion of those grant funds. So it kind of the dollars fall off every year. So
So it
there's an
really is
equal amount of amortization that happens each year.
so really designed to keep people who are residents, existing residents in their
We
homes.
want you to stay.
Yeah, and so this is good for things like roofing, plumbing,
Absolutely.
structural stuff, but it's not for beautification purposes.
It is not necessarily for beautification, but we do leave the property better than we found it. So we will paint the exterior. I call it a nice facade treatment, window repairs. One of the main goals of the program is historic preservation. Because St. Augustine is the nation's oldest city, we have so many historic properties, residential and businesses alike, and our goal is to preserve those historic structures and the integrity of the architecture. So we will beautify your property. It is not there to give you, a new mini mansion or anything like that. And we don't add any structures. We just improve what's already there. And so there is a level of facade treatment that happens throughout the process.
Yeah, so it will be looking spiffier. The next CRA meeting is at City Hall. It's April 27th, but we have a link on our website if you'd like more information on the program. Jamie D. Perkins, thank you so much for being here
Of
this morning.
course, you're so welcome.
All right.